Hey guys, it's Joel Sangerman coming at you on a beautiful February afternoon, a Friday afternoon, and I'm decked out a little bit in the Oklahoma Sooners gear. I've never been an Oklahoma fan, at least not specifically, but I spent a couple days this week down at the university, and what a phenomenal university it is. Their gymnastics team has been national champions for several years. I think they're ranked second this year, and their basketball team actually happens to be number one in the country. So I'm going with the Boomer Sooner gear today. Anyway, the purpose of this video is to discuss the house from hell. Actually, I shouldn't say the house from hell. I would never say anything like that. So why don't we just call it the house from Sin City, which I believe you can see on your screen here. And let me take you through this deal that we did out in Las Vegas that really just closed. I believe it was about 8 or 9 days ago, but a pretty phenomenal deal for us. This is a picture of the home. This is the home out at beautiful Southern Highlands Golf Club on the south end of Las Vegas. We've got a picture of the back, which shows the pool and the basketball court. Really a phenomenal house all around with the marble floors, the elegant staircase. What a bathroom, what a master bathroom. Of the 10 bathrooms that are in this house, this is my favorite one. And then what a fantastic game room with a pool table that it really makes the room. So really great house. It's always good to start a discussion on a real estate deal with the end in mind. So let me take you through the profit on this Las Vegas deal so you can get an idea of what we're really talking about here. The profit on this deal was $50,000 just as of a few days ago. We collected a check for $50,000 in January of 2016, the end of January, for closing the non-refundable option deposit portion of our lease option. And then when you fast forward to next year at this time, we should be sitting on a couple of other stacks of cash, two additional $50,000 stacks of cash, because in January of 2017, the proceeds that we'll get from the required additional deposit that our buyer has to make is another $100,000. So overall, $150,000 of net profit on this particular deal. And I'm going to take you through a little bit about how this deal developed because, frankly, I call it the house from Sin City because it was one heck of a time trying to get the right buyer for this house. We did run, this is a high-end house. It's a luxury home, so you do a little bit more in terms of the marketing, and that's precisely what we did here. Put an ad in a magazine. We put ads out on Craigslist still. We also used MLS, and we used some phone marketing as well to various realtors. But ultimately, what we're selling is the idea of terms, the idea that we have a luxury home that's offered with owner financing where there's no bank qualifying, and that's extremely attractive to people in Vegas. These high-end luxury homes that require jumbo loans, all jumbo loans require about 20% down or more. I say about because sometimes it's more than 20% down. But on a home like this, which there's a $3-4 million home, you're talking about a considerable down payment that's required to get a bank loan. So anytime you can go in with owner financing or with a lease to own type of program, you can still collect a very large down payment or a very large non-refundable option deposit and get a great buyer and make a good amount of money. We didn't get as much on this deal as we would have liked, but I think you'll like what occurred as I go through this with you. There's a saying that if you kiss enough frogs, eventually you'll find a prince. Well, we kissed a whole lot of frogs on this deal. We had professional poker players who we weren't sure if they were going to have money from one month to the next, the way they were gambling. So we said, on that guy. We had some music industry executives, some famous rappers who wanted to buy this home, and there was a little bit of concern for what kinds of things might be going on in the community there, given the experience that I actually had in this community going back a while ago. And frankly, the deal that they were proposing might have been illegal. So we said to that potential buyer. Then we actually had a guy or a group of guys who are going out and buying distressed hotels around the world, creating sort of a Club Med concept. But this was a Club Med contest or concept, Club Med concept for alternative lifestyle. And they were going to have their flagship hotel in Las Vegas, and it was going to be called Club Pink. So these were folks that we actually liked. They came to the table with money. They were ready to roll. But for some reason they pulled the plug at the very last second. So we didn't go with the Club Pink buyers. We actually had someone come in who is a marijuana grower, fulfilling the needs of the medical dispensary, the medical marijuana dispensary industry. But who we actually ended up going with on this deal was a real Beauty and the Beast story. And this is kind of mean. I'm generally not a mean-spirited person, but if you met the couple who we selected, we really liked them, and they truly were a lovely couple. These are our buyers of the Las Vegas home. So let me take you through a little bit of the structure on this deal here, because I think it's extremely important to note that sometimes you structure a deal, but it's the deal after the deal that really counts. And that's what occurred in this case. We went in with a plan of getting as good a terms as we could. We'd stay in the middle, and what we could get over and above the terms that we were given from our seller, we would keep on the front, in the middle, and on the back. So the way that deal looked was just short of $4 million for a price. Previously, this home was listed at 4.8, so we thought 3.9, we were getting a pretty good deal on it. Our down was really low for a house of that value, only $195,000 down. We really didn't want to come up with the $195,000 down, so we asked for a 90-day turn, a 90-day term, so that we could lock up our buyer and use the funds from our buyer to fund our down payment. That creates a lot less risk for us. The monthly payment caused a little bit of heartburn, 25,000 all in. That's principal, that's interest, that's taxes, that's insurance, that's 2 HOAs, and that was their full nut for the whole month. So we didn't really expect to have much cash flow in the middle with a payment like that. But certainly there's some opportunity on the front end and the back end. And we would have had a 3-year term on this. So we went through all those buyers, even more than what I just shared with you. And we ended up with our lovely couple who I showed you, and they only had $100,000 down, but it was getting to the point where we were going to get locked out on this deal, and the seller was going to go with a realtor. So we had to work with what we had, and what we had was a bird in the hand. And ultimately, what happens so frequently is that when you present that bird in the hand to the seller and you ask them straight up, hey, would you rather take this bird in the hand, or would you rather go find the two that may be in the bush? A lot of times they're going to take that bird in the hand, and that's what happened in this case. So we did have the house appraised. The house had gone down in value over the time that we had it, and the appraisal came in at 3.3. We ended up selling this on a lease option with a $3.35 million price. Our down payment was $100,000 non-refundable. Our monthly is $10,000 a month, which is pretty good given that the rental market for a home like this, not a huge rental market for homes like this, but getting $10,000 a month isn't easy even on a home like this. So we got a pretty good monthly payment coming in, and we asked our buyer for $60,000 of prepaid rent, pay the first 6 months in advance, and he was fully willing to do that. Now, here's what happens down the road here. After a year, there's going to be an additional down payment required, an additional non-refundable payment that's required. Guess how much that is? Well, it's $1 million of additional money that has to be placed in the seller's hands, of which it'll be split with us to some extent, which I'll share with you on the green screen here, or the green block. But the cash out has to happen within 2 years. So it's a 2-year lease option, 100 up front, a million in a year, and they'll probably just go ahead and cash out once they put the million in, either through some form of refinancing, or the guy may have enough money to just cash us out completely at year one. But they have 2 years to do it. Personally guaranteed, by the way, by the buyer. So results and logistics on this deal. The first thing is that we did this deal directly between the buyer and the seller. We acts it, if you will, assignment of contract and terms. We didn't stay in the middle. We could have stayed in the middle. It might have been a good idea to stay in the middle, but with numbers this big, I think we just felt that we ought to go ahead and assign it. But we did a little bit different type of assignment. What we actually did is recorded a notice of option, which is important in some of these deals so that you are in the chain of title. So if you close with your attorney or title company, they have the means to actually pay you for releasing that option, and it does not appear as though you are brokering the deal, which of course you aren't. You're a principal in this deal, given the fact that you have equitable interest through an option, or in our case, through an actual purchase and sale agreement. So we did go ahead and record an option here, which enables the title company to pay us through a lien release or a release fee, and insulates us from any questions or any trouble that you could get questions from the real estate commission, given that we're not realtors. If you are a realtor, you don't have to do any of that. But we're not realtors, so we wanted to make sure that there's no perception or optics out there that we were engaged in practicing the brokering of real estate without a license. So ultimately, what the seller decided to do was just split that 100,000 with us that they're getting up front, which was quite generous, I thought. And that's how we walked away with the $50,000 payday. And then when the million drops in a year, we'll get the rest of our proceeds, which is $100,000. So $150,000 net on this deal. So let me explain how we did this. It's really no different than what you do on any other deal. You're going to go out and you're going to generate leads. Well, the way we generated leads in this case is through the yellow letter campaign. We sent out a yellow letter, a bunch of them, and our seller responded to this. Well, I qualified that seller because this was a luxury deal myself. The call went to Pat Live. I returned the Pat Live call personally. And it's up to you how you want to do this. The prototype way to do it is to send those Pat Live yeses to your VA to fill out a property information sheet. But I felt, because this was a list of $1 million plus homes, that any calls that came into Pat Live, I just go ahead and take myself if they were saying yes, they had a house for sale. So that's what I did. We filled out this property information sheet. We knew that they were a yes to terms, and then we went back to them and asked them, what do they have in mind? And I have to take this call at another time. So we went ahead and worked out some terms based on what they said they had in mind and what they were willing to do. And I shared with you what those terms were. And then we put a purchase and sale agreement together. Pretty simple stuff. You put the simple front and back, 2 pages, if you count front and back, 1 page, 1 sheet of paper, purchase and sale agreement, sent it to them. They looked at it with their attorney. We had a conversation with the attorney. This is all part of the follow-up mechanism. And then we went ahead and worked to close on this as quickly as possible. And that's essentially what occurred. As you can see, we got a closing statement here where $160,000 was produced at the close, of which we kept $50,000. So how do you replicate this? How do you replicate these kinds of deals going forward? Really, it comes down to that old saying: three frogs are sitting on a log, and two of them decide to jump. Well, how many are left on the log? Some people would say one, but the correct answer is three, because the other two just decided to jump. They didn't actually take the action to jump. And that's the most important aspect of trying to replicate a deal like this, is that you have to take action. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to take action if you're not trained and go out and try to do these deals just based on what you learn at the convention. But what can be considered taking action is as simple as attending a quick turn real estate school. They have them throughout the year. You definitely need to get trained up. Go to the quick turn real estate school, learn, and then from there you need to implement. You can either implement immediately upon leaving that school, or you have the opportunity to get with a mentor. My personal preference for anyone who would graduate from quick turn real estate schools, you probably should get a mentor. You can certainly go out and implement right from the school, but you'll get to your goals much more quickly, presumably, if you're willing to take action and you do it with a mentor. I equate it to trying to learn how to swim from a video or from someone teaching you from the stage. It's very difficult to do that when you jump in the water, and it's good to have a coach helping guide you along the way, showing you what to do, calibrating your actions and your behavior a little bit more to the right, a little bit more to the left, a little bit smoother here. And when you do that, you can get to collecting a check much more quickly. What you'll also have to do is follow instructions. Follow the instructions that are in the manual, follow the instructions of what's taught in the real estate school, and follow the instructions of a mentor if you go that path. And just keep going. There's going to be emotional moments. There's going to be times where you say you can't. There's going to be times where you may feel like it's more difficult than what you're able to bring to fruition. But separate those emotions and just keep doing what the simple instructions that are laid out. And it is very likely that if you do that, you're going to collect a check. And let's remember what this is really about. It's really not about collecting checks. Collecting checks are just a means to an end. And that end is your ability to have the lifestyle you want and to choose the type of freedom that you want to have. And being able to do what you want to do on a daily basis because you have the financial freedom and the financial wherewithal to make decisions as you see fit on a day in and a day out basis. So these kinds of deals are out there by the thousands. You can replicate the system. You need to get an education and you need to go out there and act. And I'd just like to thank Ron for giving me the ability to do some of these things. It's made a big difference in the lifestyle that I have today and the financial freedom that I enjoy today. So go out there and get some deals done. And if you're watching this video at the convention, have a great rest of the convention, folks. Take care.